to again welcome us to this class. This is Introduction to Technology and Social Change. In this class, already you have the course outline of the things we are to discuss, and we want to please appeal to everyone to flow along. For this session, we expect each and every one of us to key in. You must be able to define and understand the concept of social change. Also, you should be in a position to clearly explain to persons who may be interested on the reasons why we study social change. So let's start from discussing social change. What do we mean by social change? Social change will be difficult to define given that various scholars might have various views of it. But then, as we consider the dynamics of the human society and then the regular alterations that it experiences in terms of alterations in social norms, alterations in values and values relationships, alterations in stratifications, which has emanated from both internal and external forces. Here we mean both forces from within, the ones that we are consciously responsible for, and then as well as both forces from without. For instance, our definition of external forces here will include events that occur on a large scale affecting states, nations, races, countries, and what have you. You discuss something like climate change. Of course, you know that climate change is an external force of change, and then it also occurs on a very large scale. Then there are also other events that are internally generated, the internal forces. They occur in small scales, which might lead to some changes in social structure, which may not be visible, but then before you know it, they've overtaken a large part of the society. Look at changes in demographic status of an area. Before you know it, a track road has become tarred. Before you know it, people no longer go to streams. They now have boreholes in their houses. Now, as we mentioned this in class, for some of you, they don't sound like elements of change, but indeed, they are. So they are the internal forces of change. Okay, let's give a concise definition of social change. Of course, I know so many persons will be waiting for that, especially for persons who wouldn't want us to explain details. They just want to, you know, possibly have a definition. Social change as a concept can be defined as the alteration within the social structure which is noticeable in changes in pattern of behavior, changes in skill, changes in attitudes, changes in cultural symbols, people's value system, etc. Now, these changes appear when there is a momentous shakeup in social and cultural elements that form an enduring network of relationship in which interaction between people, organizations, communities, and nations become restructured. When these changes occur, we have always observed the impact of these changes on the society, which can be positive or negative. For instance, There are changes that may give rise to desirable development and improvement within the social institution and social structure. Let's take the trend of POS machines, point of sale machines, that is gradually becoming a common sight in our rural community. That's an element of economic change, and for most of us, we think, in as much as there may be one or two negative effects from that, but it has huge positive effects. And then we also would also look at the other part of it, negative social change, which depicts a malfunction in the entire or some parts of the social structures and institutions, which in turn destabilizes human and social development. We've already made mention of climate change earlier in this lesson. You won't forget that climate change has led to both drought, flooding, hunger, etc. So these are negative influences of social change. At this point, we expect that everyone should be able to define social change as dynamics of the human society which experience regular alterations in its social norms. Those alterations in social norms are what we call social change. We move on to reasons why we study social change. Why do we study social change? Now, we've already earlier on put emphasis on the need for discourse. First of all, there is an increasing number of unresolved issues in our society. So many of them, changes in human relationships, social institutions, and structure. And because of these changes, there is need for us to study social change. Some persons may argue that these changes are not rural based, but then we must not also forget that the effect of the changes, even though they be more of urban based, will always trickle down gradually to the rural community. Look at things around dressing pattern, what the females wear, what our ladies wear. You know, there were days when it was near abomination to see a lady dressed in trousers, in the rural areas. That was the mentality then. But today, we've seen an urban pattern trickle down. So we need to study social change so that we'll be able to address the increasing number of unresolved issues. And then we also need to study social change because it will assist us in improving the understanding of the dynamic nature of the change itself. Social change is very dynamic, very, very dynamic. So we will need to do a study of social change so that as it goes along with its dynamism, we can also flow along and then understand why things happen and how best to get the best out of such occurrences. Then, um, if we do social change effectively, it will help us to understand other career and social issues, to engage in social relations as academics, politicians, development partners, for us to design landmarks and better policy intervention and socio-political development engagements, we will need to show how versatile we are when it comes to social change. We want to again remind you that this is the second bit of your self-assessment. Can you now, on your own, tell yourself the reasons why we study social change? It will be good you do that. Let's also, though it's not part of your outline, we need to also look at the effects of social change, both real and envisaged. Of course, we've seen part of the effects to include alterations in some of the social elements. When we say social elements, please, I want to again emphasize, when we say social elements, we mean norms, values, culture, and patterns of behavior. Then there are alterations we've seen uh, in these social elements, which is one of the core effects of social change. Then we've also seen alterations in social arrangements. Social arrangements here again, for emphasis sake, will include social roles, social status, social structure. These things make up social arrangements, even social institutions. Now, the effect of social change is clearly seen on both social elements and social arrangements. We've also seen that we've seen the effect of social change in economic and physical sector, especially in the rural areas. The introduction of the POS machines, as we've said earlier on, even the ATM machines, even internet banking. These things have altered the way things happen. As an undergraduate, those days, I can remember clearly, vividly, that you cannot deposit your money in a state capital, in one state capital, and then go to withdraw it from another state capital, maybe around 19, um, I remember by 2000, 1999, 2000. But then we've seen internet banking coming to change the trend of things. Also, we've seen also that social change has also had its effect on social relations. The interaction that comes among individuals, social relations, people who would rather visit friends and loved ones in their families may no longer do that now. They will choose to chat them up on WhatsApp, connect with them on X, meet them on Facebook. So the level of human interaction has also changed. Environmentally, social change also alters the way natural and mineral resources are being managed and utilized by people. The emphasis has always been on the exploitation of human resources and minerals, towards uh, improving the livelihood. But today, a little emphasis is on human resources and minerals in many nations as ICT and other communication elements like AI, artificial intelligence, digitalization are gradually taking over. So we've seen that change. That's part of the changes that social change has brought, part of the effects of social change in our society. Also, social change also changes people's behavioral pattern. So people now think differently. People are relatively more suspicious. You see something on Facebook, you see something on social media, and then you come back, try to think that way. If not for social change, those alterations in our behavior wouldn't be there. Our attitude of legitimacy and authority has also seen changes as the effect of social change. It has also altered social structure. We've seen economic systems and social values feeling the effect of social change. People now would rarely greet you. That's the change in social value. Those days, people will easily greet others. People will stand up for pregnant women. A lot of those things are no longer there. The drive for gender equality and equity has so much grown that some of the privileges that female genders received before now are no longer there. These are elements of changes, elements of the effects of social change in our society. In the next class, we'll be discussing the characteristics of social change. Thank you for your time. Please remember to do your self evaluation.